If ever there was a man who could talk from experience about aviation, it would be Sir Maurice Flanagan, KBE, CBE, FCILT, FRAES, BA Hons, Executive Vice Chairman, Emirates Airline and Group. Since its commencement in 1985, Maurice has guided the journey of Emirates to the iconic airline it is today. He has seen Emirates achieve service excellence, consistent profitability, and rapid growth to become a dominant player in the aviation industry. But Maurice Flanagan's incredible career began long before Emirates. Maurice entered the world in Lee, Lancashire in 1928. Leaving Liverpool University with a BA in History and French, it was shortly after that Maurice had his first taste of the aviation industry as a conscript to national service in the RAF. In 1953, Maurice joined BOAC, the forerunner of British Airways, as a graduate trainee. In 1955, he married Audrey Bolton, a journalist with whom he now has 3 children and 5 grandchildren. How different life may have been thereafter if Maurice had taken one of 2 other paths, one into the world of football with Blackburn Rovers, and the other into the world of stage as a playwright for the highly esteemed National Theatre. In 1969, his teleplay The Gabler Strategy, starring Leonard Rossiter, was screened to great acclaim on ITV. But the aviation industry kept this creative brain for itself, as Maurice chose instead to continue on a promising career travelling the world with BOAC. As Maurice, with young family in tow, was clocking up experience across the network, in distant Dubai, the aviation industry was stirring. In 1978, the Dubai government asked British Airways to send on secondment an experienced manager to help establish the fledgling Dubai National Air Travel Agency. The Flanagan family was about to experience one more change of station.
It was considered by British Airways a hardship posting.
He started looking at the logo and the branding of Dinata, for which then a logo was chosen, showing the tail of the aircraft and also the runway.
He gained everyone's trust very quickly, both in the way that he performed, but also in the way he communicated and the way he listened, most importantly.
He succeeded to the extent that Dinata was considered to be one of the leading travel agent and soul handling agent in the world.
He was the kind of leader who gave birth to leaders. So he was a man who created leaders around him.
As Dubai began to boom in 1985, Sheikh Mohammed began thinking about the idea of starting an airline.
We as Dinata were actually an airline without aircraft. We had the full listings of the travel agency, and as well as we had the handling agency and fully qualified people.
It was really a very structured, straightforward step. We were filling up aircraft for other people. We were flying British Airways passengers and Air India passengers, and there was nothing stopping us from filling up 3 of our own aircraft.
Maurice was going into the old Intercon on the creek, and he was called to reception. Sheikh Mohammed was on the phone. Sheikh Mohammed said, "What date did you say would be a good one to start this airline?" And Maurice said, "October the 25th, the beginning of the winter schedule." Sheikh Mohammed said, "We're going ahead."
Maurice called me personally in the summer and told me that they were going to be launching an airline in October. And he asked me if we could have a magazine ready to launch with the airline. And my reaction was, wow, if you can launch an airline by October, I'm pretty sure that we can manage to launch a magazine for you.
Straight from university, the young Sheikh Ahmed bin Zayed Al Maktoum was appointed chairman and chief executive, with Maurice taking the helm as managing director.
I would say he's the first person I worked with. I shared an office with him, the same office, for over 1 year. He's a very dedicated person.
Maurice is devoted to Sheikh Ahmed, and he's full of admiration in the first place for how he applied himself as a young man and how he has been very much a hands-on chairman.
It was an excellent relationship between us and also the rest of the team.
Mr. Flanagan knew what he wanted to do, he knew where he wanted to take the airline, and he has the wisdom to select the key people to build the airline with him, and that's what you see today.
Maurice had was this unique ability to create a solid platform, a solid understanding of behaviour, of style, of values, which create the essence of what an organisation is, the heartbeat of that organisation.
Emirates was developing steadily, and by 1990, Maurice had become managing director of the Emirates Group. Award-winning service and a reputation for innovative product was growing the Emirates brand. The airline was the first to offer personal entertainment systems in every seat, and later fax and telephone. But the new airline would be tested in the coming turbulent decades.
With the advent of the Gulf War, all airlines in the region grounded their fleet, and Mr. Flanagan's vision was completely different on this. He would not stop the operation.
It was a testing time during 2001 and 2 for Maurice and Emirates.
And we talked about the impact of the insurance and the underwriters and retaining cover so that we could continue to operate out of Dubai.
Trade Center crashes an apparent terrorist attack.
Affected by the recession and the tragedy of the Colombo airport bombings, 9/11 in New York, and rocketing insurance costs, it took strong leadership and a good business model to see the airline prosper.
He said, fine, get on with it. I went off to London with my support team. We met the underwriters, we dealt with all of that.
There was the Gulf War at the beginning, there was the Iran-Iraq War, there was SARS, there was 9/11. I think he was always visible, which was very important.
And when everybody else was cutting down flights or shutting down stations, Maurice went in there very boldly.
And it was comforting indeed to know that throughout all of these crises, Emirates always kept flying.
In uncertain economic times, the aviation industry's confidence was buoyed by a record-setting aircraft order in 2001.
It may have been all doom and gloom for airlines lately, but the industry has been given a much-needed shot in the arm.
The Emirates Airlines has signed a $15 billion order.
We'll tell you how one small airline is riding out a global slowdown.
Emirates Airlines announcing orders for 58 new planes from
The growing fleet enabled the airline to add destinations, increasing global connectivity. Emirates was fast becoming an internationally recognized brand. With a workforce already comprising over 80 nationalities, the airline was distinctive for its multinational, multilingual culture.
Maurice embraced people from different walks of life, different nations, to work together as one team.
That's why you see Emirates now, we are as a group more than 60,000 people. You see we're still working with the same spirit of a family.
I called it the Flanagan way. He always visited people in the whole of the company, and I made it a rule to every day to go around the office and talk to everybody.
It's this humble approach to dealing with people, making them feel welcome no matter what level in the organisation. His ability to connect with people, understanding that people are at the heart of what we do, of what we are.
Emirates was growing at an incredible rate, launching 19 passenger destinations between 2005 and 2008. Early forward planning gave Emirates the foundation to develop through a second global recession, and in 2008 took delivery of its first A380 Super Jumbo and opened its dedicated Terminal 3. In recognition of his contribution to aviation, in 2010, Maurice was appointed Knight Commander of the Order of the British Empire in the Queen's Birthday Honours List.
I see him as a man who brings people along with him, who sets an example by what he's doing.
And I think that Maurice is absolutely a deliverer of incredible ideas.
Maurice really has this way about him to get you very close to him.
We would not have had a tourism industry in Dubai without Emirates Airlines. And we all know that Maurice was instrumental in steering everybody through to ensure the success of Emirates Airlines. We all owe Maurice a huge debt of gratitude in Dubai. There is absolutely no question of what he and his team delivered is the reason we're all successful here.
My relationship with Maurice is something that it will never be forgotten.
Maurice is embedded in everything that we do today.
We learned, and we learned a lot from him.
Maurice leaves Emirates as Executive Vice Chairman, having seen a record 16 new passenger destinations open in 2012 and the 24th consecutive year of profit for the Emirates Group. Under his stewardship, the airline has gone from startup to iconic global brand, a miraculous journey that will forever mark Maurice Flanagan as a legend of the aviation industry.